Awesome. So with that declaration of greatness, we are now going to go live on YouTube. And let me just see if it's already gone. Yes, it looks like it's almost live. All right, almost there. Now, while we are going live on YouTube, first of all, I want all of you to promise me that from tonight, you're going to start practicing that greatness inside you. How many of you promise that? Raise your hands, please. Write this over there right now on your notepads. I am great and I'm ready to practice greatness. Now, when I say greatness, I'm not always talking about the great bungalow, the great cars, the great money, the great bank account. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about great relationships first. I'm talking about great four things. What are those? Everyone say it again. F, T, B, and A. Feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions. How many of you are practicing greatness from tonight, from now? Raise your hands, please. Awesome. So with that, let's get ready for magical blessings. Here we go. Starting from magical blessings. Come to the gallery view. Starting from hands on your heart. Relax your energy. And now hands in the blessings position. On the Zoom, everybody look at each other, smile at each other, and take any 5 names loudly together right now. All right, now repeat with me. Congratulations, everyone. All your health, relationships, career, and money goals are already achieved. Tathastu. Awesome. Thank you for giving and receiving blessings. And with that, let's begin some magical sharing and then be ready. I hope you've come with 1 hour extra because I hope you know today, Imran sir is back, our business partner and the man who's going to teach you how to recognize your frequency by looking at your handwriting, and he will even do some amazing question answer around it. Those of you who are on YouTube live right now, come on, get inspired and take notes. Take a notepad, keep a pen ready with you. But before that, let's start with some magical sharing. Here we go. Starting with Sayan. Hey, Sayan, go for it. What do you want to share? Yes, Sayan, go for it. What do you want to share?
Hello, am I audible? Hello.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
How are you, Mitesh?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Same. So it's like apparently my frequency's gone highly up. Like initially, what used to happen, I'll be honest with you, after the opener for health, so the relationship, career, and money. Initially, I used to be a bit, apprehensive as to like this is not working out, that is not working. I used to take tension, depression, and everything. But once, like, if it is not happening, doesn't matter. It's some, I don't know how, I don't know
Amazing.
when, but this will happen. If something's not happening, if my health is not doing well, if perhaps on day 1 or day 2, my health is a bit down, like all right, it is a day or two, nothing will happen.
Brilliant.
And then initially, I am in college right now. So initially, what used to happen, like when my marks used to be declared, so I had this, chain of thought that, oh no, I shouldn't go to see my marks or something because I might not get good grades and everything. But now it's like today, like again, marks got declared. So I went again and I'm like, अच्छे marks तो मिलेंगे. I'll be that
Wow.
one of those, like I'll get good
Amazing.
grades. And I went
Congratulations,
today,
Sayan.
I'm like in the top 10% of the crowd. So it was so
Whoa,
bad. Thank
congratulations,
you.
buddy. Amazing. All of you on mute, give him a high five. Congratulations for magical frequency.
Congratulations for magical frequency.
Congratulations.
One more sharing for the day, and then we'll invite the master himself, Sarita. Hey, Sarita, go for it. What do you want to share?
Hi,
Hi,
Mideshi. How are
Sarita.
you?
As usual,
I
magical. Bolo.
it's a not small magic.
Okay, go ahead.
See,
Oh, no, I can't clearly see, but what is that?
this is on the water bottle. I have
I can see
written.
the water bottle, but I can't see what's written there.
It's platinum sticker. I have put a platinum sticker,
Right,
and on
right.
my vision board also. From yesterday, I'm a platinum member.
Okay, congratulations. Welcome to Platinum Family. Looking forward to seeing you in the orientation.
Yes, and the thing is, from I started my journey with Mideshji and Induji by end of July only, and I don't
Okay.
know whether you remember or not my status that time.
I do.
Yeah. So
I spoke to you
first
one-on-one during the workshop, I remember.
yes,
The weekend workshop.
yes, and I started my journey with Ho'oponopono. Then back to back, I did LOA, NLP, Wealth Mastery. Only relationship mastery was left to do. And just after doing the Wealth Mastery, I had done so many free workshops actually.
Right.
Just after doing the Wealth Mastery, I got almost 10, 12 students. And
Wow.
yeah, 10, 12
Amazing.
students. Yeah, and that too, not only, actually, I made a course out of my learnings, not only healing, I combined all the modules and I made a
Wow.
course out of it for 21 days.
Amazing.
And yeah, and the one thing is I had a small business apart from my job. I had a small business of gift wrapping. That was not, that was almost like a dead for last 1 year. I was not
Right.
even looking at it. I started getting calls for it.
Wow.
Actually, I myself had, I thought that I will not do it
So the
anymore.
business was
Just,
not down. The frequency was down. Now that the frequency is
yes,
up, the business is up again.
correct, really. Back to back, only magic is happening, Videshji,
Wow.
in my life now. Only
Congratulations,
magic is
Sarita.
happening.
More magic is coming. 10 years
Thank
of
you
success
so
in 1 year.
much. Thank you so much. May God bless
Most
you.
welcome.
And
Thank
25th
you.
is my
Thank you.
first batch of paid students starting. I need
Wow.
your blessing.
Congratulations. Congratulations. All of you on mute, give her a high five.
Thank you.
Congratulations for being a magical healer.
Congratulations for being a
Congratulations for
Congratulations for
magical
Congratulations for being a magical.
To do more sharing, but as you know, the master himself is waiting. How many of you are ready to invite him now to understand how you can recognize your frequency in handwriting? How many of you have never met Imran sir before? Raise your hands, please. Okay, if you've never met Imran sir, I want you to know he's the man in our business who teaches people how to change your frequency just by using your pen on your paper, making few changes in the lines of your handwriting and changing your entire frequency, upgrading your life, improving your health, your relationships, your career, your financial life. Everything can be improved when you change your handwriting and improve your handwriting. But this is not about improving handwriting to improve maths. This is not about passing exams. This is about practicing greatness in your life. Question is, how many of you are ready to bring that greatness in your life? Raise your hands right now. If you are ready, then remember when the great man himself comes in to transfer that energy of greatness to you, how much you receive that greatness depends on how you receive that greatness. Now, if you're lying down like this, and if you're hardly contributing, and if you're hardly using any notes, then you're not going to receive that greatness no matter how much he gives you. The question is, are you going to receive it like a great person? How many of you promise to receive it like a great person? Raise your hands, please. Then sit straight. Attend as if this is $1 million conversation, because trust me, any conversation can be $1 million conversation if you treat it like one. So be ready to receive that frequency from the universe, from the master himself when he's giving it to you. So when I unmute all of you, and when I bring him on screen, I want you to give him a big round of applause. I want you to say thank you and I love you to Imran sir for giving his precious time and his wisdom to all of us so we can also practice greatness like him. Are you ready to invite him? Are you ready to welcome him? All right, so here we go. Calling Imran sir. 1, 2, and 3. Everybody, please unmute.
Welcome,
1, 2,
Imran
3.
sir.
Let's
Hi,
go.
welcome Imran sir. Love you, Imran sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Imran sir.
Love you,
Imran
sir.
sir.
Come
Thank you,
on.
Imran sir.
Welcome,
Imran sir, we love you.
Welcome,
lot of
welcome.
knowledge.
Thank you
Love
so
you,
much.
love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Knowledge for
Thank you.
everything.
Love you, sir.
I muted you all, so unmute yourself. Thank you for all the love, everybody.
We are waiting for you.
Congratulations. Yeah, Mitesh, you need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
I am unmuted now.
Thank you, everybody, for all the love and for all the love and gratitude. Love you so much. And now it's time to also acknowledge my teacher, my guru, my friend, my business partner. Let's appreciate Mitesh
Thank you,
also. How many of you
Thank you.
love catching up with him every single day in the DMP? Like, look at his energy, look at his frequency. How many of you like to have that little bit in your own way, in your own life? Give me a big yes there, right? So go ahead, unmute right now and say, I love you to Miteshji for creating all these amazing things. So I get to meet you all. He's the reason.
Love you so much.
Thank you,
We
sir.
love you.
Love you.
I love you. I love you.
Love you.
Love you all. Thank you very much, every single one of you. And now it's time to learn from the Grandmaster himself. So I leave you with him. Please listen to every word from him like $1 million word. Take your notepads, take your pen, receive this gold mine. Over to you, Imran sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So it's always a great pleasure to be here. And those of you who don't know me, my name is Imran Beg. I am a handwriting analyst. So my job is to make people come back to writing. So if you ask me in a nutshell, what do? I make people fall in love with their own handwriting and basically support them in forging their future using the power of pen. So today we're going to be discussing about yourself, how we can able to fix your frequency using your handwriting. Many people ask me questions like, Imran, how can I fix my frequency using the handwriting, using the power of graphotherapy? So the answer is very simple. What is important is that I know you want to achieve results in your life. I know you want to have higher results in your life. How many of you want to have that? Like you want to have success in money, relationship, all the HRCM aspect of your life. But the far most important thing to achieve there is that, see, everything on the planet Earth gets created twice. Everybody give me two. Everything on the planet Earth gets created twice. Once in your head and second in reality. And my job is how you can create that in your head. How do you empower here will reflect in the reality also. Many of us don't believe it's possible here. And that's why we need DMP. One of the core results of you attaining DMP on a regular basis is that you get present to the power that, yes, you are able to win here, visualize here, and then it will happen in reality. So if you ask me, Imran, how can I increase my frequency with handwriting? Because handwriting is directly coming from your brain using the neural pathways onto the paper. So when you make changes in your handwriting, you're reprogramming your neural pathway and sending the signals back to your brain. And that's how the frequency gets changed and the results gets faster and manifested for real. So this is the process we follow. So now the question is, Imran, what do I specifically write to influence my subconscious mind? There are many ways of doing it, but what we have done is we have systematically created material for you to write. So that's why if you enroll into our programs, we send you physical books, stationery, so that you can get started and practice specific things to increase your frequency. Not only that, also to improve your health. How many of you like to improve your health? And by the way, how many of you believe in a concept of prevention is better than cure? Because we are, very interested in curing our problems. Like people ask me, Imran, what do I do to, help me with my diabetes? How do I fix my BP and things like? See, I love to do that. I will definitely support you in that. But for me, more importantly, also what is important is, can we all work towards prevention than actually curing? So never again in the future, you should have any health challenge. So that's why our belief is that a healthy mind cannot have a diseased body. So how we can make your mind healthy is by programming it. And there are many ways of doing programming. True, yeah, we can do meditation, we can do yoga, we can do exercise, we can do a lot of religious and spiritual awakening. It's possible. But if you ask me then, why handwriting? Handwriting is the easiest and the fastest way to reprogram your subconscious mind because it's directly connected to the neural pathways. It's as simple as possible. So today, I'm going to continue my session, what I started last Wednesday. I love the session of answering question answers. So how many of you realized that that was a fun session because you got a chance to ask me questions and I was answering those questions. So what we did was I wanted to honor every question. So we compiled all the chat box. We put it on the Excel sheet. Now I compiled the questions which are very much related to each other. So I have some questions which I'm going to be definitely answering. And in the process, if you come across a new question, you're most welcome to type it on the chat box and ask me. But right now, take a note. The first question which I like to get started answering is that the question was asked, letter for better relationship. How many of you like to have better relationships in your life? Imran, I really want to work on my relationship, especially the interpersonal skills. It's very important because when we talk about relationship, it's about the people around you. It could be your family, it could be friends, it could be your social or workplace. But let's now focus on that. Now, if you really look into the handwriting, that one letter which is concretely talking about your relationship domain is your letter Y or the letter G. So any of the lower loop letters. So if I'm writing the letter Y or a G, you see the space of the Y. You see the size of the Y. So now look into your handwriting, whether it is a G or a V, look at the size of your handwriting. So either it is healthy, that means not too big, not too small, or either it will be, look into handwriting, it will be a little big. And sometimes it will be very big. And many a times it's actually very narrow. Sometimes it's only half. So no matter whether it is the Y, it is the G, or it is the Z, You will see this in all the various letters. So now look into your handwriting and tell me the size of this loop. Tell me the size of this loop. You will see either it's very narrow or it is healthy or it's too big. So let me make it easy for you and you can type in on the chat box A, B, or C. So the A is so the B is, or the C is. So tell me, which one are you? So the A or the B or the C on the chat box. The A or the B or the C on the chat box. Thank you. So how do you focus on your relationship is the first and the concrete part of your relationship is trust. Only if I trust Tarun enough, I will allow him into my inner circle of friends. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Because all of us operate in relationship with trust. Many a times we lack the trust. And why our trust gets shaken up, why our trust gets shapen up is because of our past experiences. Somebody misused your trust, somebody actually, did not really honor your trust, and all these things will happen. So now if you look into your handwriting, the size of the loop talks about the number of people you trust in your life, or how much is your trust quotient. And the lesser your trust quotient, the lesser number of friends you have. In fact, we call this category of people as socially selective people. What do you mean by socially selective is that they're very friendly, they talk to everybody, but when it comes to going out, when it comes to spending time, when it comes to doing things, they are very, very choosy who is allowed to come inside in their friend circle. So much choosy that if I can ask them how many friends they have, they can count on the fingers. Sometimes the fingers are more and the friends are less. How many of you are with me on that? Go to gallery mode and see how many hands going up. So you are socially selective person. So if I meet Vipul, if I meet Poonam, and they're socially selective people, I might feel, okay, why are they so cold? Why are they not allowing me in their friend circle? No, I may try to judge them, but it's very simple. They take time to allow people into their friends. And basically, what I call these people as checklist people. So they have a mental checklist. They observe, they tick mark, and then one fine day they say, okay, you're allowed inside. So that's how they operate. And you know what? Some of you are so choosy as friends that you have one person who you call up to cry, one person to ask for advice, one person to go out and shop. So you're very choosy. So they're very, very particular who you allow. But if you have it too big of a loop, that means you're trusting too many people. So that's why there are higher chances of you getting gullible. Are you with me on that? What do you mean by gullible? Gullibility means you're taking everybody's input, you're taking everybody's insight. So higher chances of getting misused. So the idea here is identifying which space you look into. Now, if you ask me, Imran, how do I improve my relationship quotient? My go-to letter would be to write your Y or a G healthy enough, not too big, not too small. So if you ask me technically, how do I balance this out? I have a strategy for you. In fact, I teach all these things in my program, which is the first step program. I'm doing this on a weekend. So if you're a platinum member and if you're already signed up with my program, this Saturday, Sunday, this complete weekend of Saturday, Sunday, I'm doing a program on handwriting. So you're welcome to be there to learn more. So make sure whenever you write your loop is proportionate to the head of the G. Can you see here? If I'm writing my G or a Y and I'm writing my loop, so make sure the loop is as proportionate as much as it. But now look at here, this is becoming 2 times the size of the Y. This is proportionate, and that's why you need to be really working on. So this will help you to improve your relationship quotient by improving your ability to trust people. And that's where the first step is, and everything starts with that. Are you all with me on that? Give me a biggest if you're with me on that. So what is the next question? Now, Deepa is saying, no, Imran, not fitted in option. So there are many more ways of writing it, but right now I'm being very specific to answer the questions which is been asked me. So don't worry, there are 128 things we can look into your handwriting, okay? Letter that can be practiced to height increase and health internal functioning of the body. So many times I get this question asked, Imran, tell me a letter to lose the weight. Tell me a letter to increase my height, or tell me a letter to, accept my, work on my health. So everybody, raise your hand. How many of you are looking at making your health better? So there are 2 ways of looking at it. I love to work on improving your health. I can support you how you can prevent your body from getting impacted towards, any type of psychosomatic diseases and things like that. But now today, I'm here to answer a question, how to increase your height. This question actually baffled me. The question was, tell me a letter to increase my height. I got that. But more importantly, why is it so important for you not to accept your own height? Are you all with me on that? So somewhere the self-image is under question. And listen to me very carefully. There are many strategies or many theories around why we get health problems. But my theory and strategy is that, look at this. Many of us are in fight with our own body. You're not in harmony with your own body. So much so that some of you forget about the height. Some of us are not even complete about being the gender which we are in. And even on a lighter note, like we teach this in our inner physician program where we talk about some of us are not even comfortable with our own gender. Like most of the ladies have this equation that I wish I was a man, they get more freedom, they have more flexibility to do things, so I'm not okay. So the moment you have this conversation with your body is in fight with you. So there's a disharmony between the mind and the body, and that's why your body causes all the health challenges. Your hormonal issues, you have PCOD, you have PCOS, you'll have a dramatic menopause, and all these issues are happening because somewhere you're not in peace with it. So improving your self-image and having self-acceptance is a big result which you can develop in your life. Because once you get comfortable in your own skin, once you get comfortable with your own body image, you will start focusing on a bigger things, creating more massive results. Are you with me on that? That's the idea there. So focus should be on that. So if you ask me improve your height, now I'll tell you how to improve your self-esteem, where the height is not the bigger problem you need to focus on. You need to be focusing on bigger results in your life. How many of you with me on that? Right? Simple strategy there, right? So we'll focus on that. So let's focus on the next question. So the next question is, how do you use handwriting to improve commitment? And for good grades, what do I need to do? So how do you improve your commitment is, there's a very beautiful behavior which is called as persistence. How many of you have problem that you're not being consistent with whatever you do in your life? Imran, I'm not consistent with my exercise. I'm not consistent with my affirmation reading. I'm not consistent with my DMP. I'm not consistent. So there's so many ways of improving your commitment and consistency. So let's focus on what you need to be really doing to improve your consistency and focus. Number one, you need to definitely have this in your handwriting. So everybody look into your screen right now. I'm teaching you something which I have never shared this before. In handwriting analysis, there is a trait which is called as persistence. And I don't want you to practice this until you do, you need to really first understand this before you start applying this. So if you're in the habit of writing your letter F, look at this. This goes to the left and comes back on the same line. You see this? This is called as a double backing stroke. We also see this in the letter T. You write your T, it comes like a double backing. So this develops persistence in your behavior. This develops an ability to consistently do things. But before you reach here, there are more groundwork which you need to be doing. So there are more things you need to really fix before you actually fix your persistence, because there's so many other behaviors. If you don't work on that, this persistence can actually spill over on that. Okay. So it's important that you need to have a basic understanding. So handwriting analysis is not about changing letters alone. You need to have a deeper understanding. So what comes before change is to understand what to change. Make sense? What comes before change is to understand what to change. So once you have that clarity, then all these things can be applied on. So this will help you to make sure that you have consistency in your, persistence in your approach. But there are many more things which I can give you to work on. Okay. So go ahead. Any more questions I can answer? So there are some more questions which I have already. So I'm just answering that. Can we know if a person has diabetes? Yes. If I look into your handwriting, I can understand all the possible psychosomatic diseases which you're handling in your life right now. And more importantly, I can also identify if your body has become dependent on medicine. So how many of you know there are people who have health challenges where they normally take tablets on a daily basis? Like they can't miss one tablet. It's like issues related to the BP and things like that. So yes, all these things can be identified. Now, which letter to look into it? Now, that's a deeper conversation. You need to have a little more maturity as a handwriting analyst to talk about the health aspect of it. But the answer is yes, it can be identified. So, chaliye, aage badhte hain. So, there's one more equation people ask me about. Okay, so when I'm writing my surname, how important surname is in the signature? So, let's talk about that. How many of you have a signature in which you have a surname? Raise your hand or type in me on the chat box. Right? So if you have a surname in your signature, it's a good sign. There's nothing wrong about it. But how you write your surname is very important, because your surname represents many aspects of your life. So many of us have surname. It represents people who matter the most, or the people who have influenced us the most. For example, if you look into my signature has my surname, and that is big. So this is how I write and sign. So whenever you sign your surname, there are things to take control of. Number one, your surname represents your father name, it could be your spouse name, or it could be a family name. But if you choose to write your surname, make sure you follow these three things. Number one, make sure your surname is as big and equivalent to your surname and the actual first name. So many of us do this mistake. When you're writing your name, you're very confident, but when you write your surname, the size becomes small. Let me know on the chat box if the size of your surname is small compared to your first name. Look into this. This is the first thing which people do, which is a mistake. Number two, when you're writing your surname, you write your surname and you underline. When you're underlining, it cuts through the surname. So type in me on the chat box if this is where you write. So either your surname is smaller compared to your first name. Number two, you're cutting through your surname. And number three is, whenever you write your surname, you're overwriting it. How many of you have this designs which comes on your paper where you're actually overwriting your surname? Overwriting your surname. So type in me on the chat box. So anything which you do with your surname has a direct influence on your personality, because your surname is representing something very, very concrete. Very, very concrete. Okay. So I'm waiting for responses on the chat box. So come on, everybody, look into your signature and tell me, because based on your response, I'm going to be talking about that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the surnames and the initials. So let's talk about this right now. So the ideal way of writing. So whenever you write like this, not a good sign. Any of these three things is not a good sign. So first of all, you choose your surname. It's your responsibility what you want to write in. But whenever you write, make sure if my I is of the same size as my B is, and all the size should be of the same. Can you see that here? The size should be of the same. But again, don't bring in too much of a gap. Don't write dots in your signature in between whenever you write it. So write it completely and be clear, because your surname represents a lot of things. So let me tell you all the things which your surname represents. Your surname has a huge influence on you. For example, if Tabuk, I meet him, I see his signature. If Tabuk has a habit of adding a surname, so he has a huge influence of the surname on you. So much so that the way you think, the way you look at relationships, the way you look at money, the way you look at scenarios of your life, you have an influence coming from your family or coming from your dad and things like that. So how do you honor that? When you overwrite your name, when you are not doing justice with your surname, it also talks about your relationship to the person whose surname is representing. So right now we're talking about bringing in harmony. So avoid dots, avoid overwriting, make sure the size is balanced. And that's where the harmony gets established. And that's how you go places. Now, if you don't have a surname in your signature, it's okay. There's no force, there's no compulsion, there's no need that you have to have a surname. But if you're adding one, do justice to that by writing it well. Make sense, everybody? Yeah. So that's the story around that. But Imran, I don't have a surname, but I want to start writing one. You're most welcome to do so. It is suggested, but not a compulsion to have. Not a compulsion to have. Okay. Can I use first letter in surname? No way, no. Whenever you write your signature, I am not a fan of initials. See, it's like this. If you love me, I want full, complete commitment in the love. You can't just put my initial. Now, if you love me, I write my name completely there rather than just writing initial. You can't say, I love you, but only this much. No, it can't be there. So that's why I'm not a fan of initial. So whatever you write in your signature, add a full name if you're writing your initial. But make sure in your signature, your name should be there. That's more important. In your signature, your name should be there. That's more important. Great. So overcome any addiction, increase your self-esteem. Your willpower needs to be improved first to overcome any addiction. So what is the best way to overcome or build up your self-confidence is to increase your self-esteem. So put your T bar on the top. Make sure your letter T looks like a capital T when you're writing anywhere, anytime. That's where you're going to be improving your ability to focus on, addictions. How to attract money and success from handwriting? 3 things. Number 1, improve your self-esteem. Number 2, be more analytical in approach. You need to make better decisions in your life. And how do you make better decisions is, so I'm basically answering equation about money on the chat box, everybody. Sorry, on the screen right now. Number 1 is put your T-bar on the top, increase your confidence and self-esteem. Number 2, you need to be present. What is your thinking pattern? What is your decision-making ability? And one of the best decision-making abilities, and you'll understand more about this when I do the weekend program, I'll explain this. This is called as an analytical thinking. You need to learn to develop pros and cons before you're making decisions. And you can do that by working on your letter M. And the second thing is, make sure if you want to increase your frequency of money, whenever you write your letter L, make sure the L has a loop in it. It's a good one to have. So these are the 3 combinations which you can have in your writing, but don't make any random changes. Attend my weekend program where I'm going to be explaining all these things, and then you can take an action. So yes, this is how you can work on it. Yes, Ankit, I'm just taking questions which is, reoccurring. I'm just avoiding that. Don't worry. If I have missed out your question, please ask me again. I'm here to answer. I don't have a last name in my signature. Does it represent something about my personality? So Jyoti says, Imran, I don't have a surname in my in my signature. Does it impact? No, Jyoti, it does not. But it actually says something about you, that those of you who don't write your surnames, you just write your first name. I personally look up to you as a warrior. Like, you are somebody who has created things on your own. Like, you became mature much more than your age. Your experience is much higher than what your life can throw at you, because you started off on yourself very old. So you're a huge warrior by itself. But the problem is, you're always available for others. But when you are in need, when you want somebody to stand by you, you always miss out on that power or the ability of it. That's why you're heartbroken, because I'm there for everybody, but when I need, nobody's there for me. And I also know the reason why people don't come and help. You know why? People perceive you on a higher pedestal. And in their head, it's like this. He does not need help. He's always helping others. He's highly matured. He knows more about it. So that's always a mismatch which happens about ourselves. Are you with me on that? How many of you are able to relate to it? Just raise your hand if you're able to relate to that. But I also know one thing I want to tell you is, even a warrior needs to rest. Okay. You need to put your sword down. You need to really calm yourself down. Enough of, struggling so much and doing what is required to be done. It's time to become effortless. Say this word, everybody. Effortless. Like, you don't have to do itni mehnat kar li hai aapne. Abhi, you just have to reap, take the benefits. You take the fruit of your hard work. That's the idea about it. That's the idea about it. Okay. How not to be lazy. Aman says, okay, we don't use the word lazy, but we say the word called procrastination. Procrastination is basically you're putting off work for tomorrow. So how many of you have ability that you have this beautiful approach towards life? Aaj kare so kal kare so parso. It's like you're always postponing things for tomorrow. And not only that. So, Aman, for me, laziness has many dimensions. So I'm just going to be helping you to understand this. Number 1 is that many of us postpone things which are unpleasant. So which you're not really excited to do. That's the first thing. So you need to identify the list of things which are unpleasant to you. And those are the things which you're postponing. And that's natural, because many of us do that. Number 2 is that many of us are always working in the last minute. It's like Savita has an exam tomorrow. She's studying tonight. Okay, so the deadline to submit the project is tomorrow, 2 o'clock, and you started to work on 12 o'clock. So you have this ability, beautiful ability of working everything in the last minute. So all this can be identified with one letter, that is the letter T. Now look into your handwriting and find out if your letter T is going more towards the left-hand side. You see this here? So the crossbar of your T is more towards the left-hand side. So the idea is letter T is a very important letter in handwriting analysis. So whenever you write your letter T, make sure it is balanced, number one. Second thing is make sure it is on the top. So it's balanced and it is on the top. So these are the two things which will do a lot of wonders. It will improve your confidence. It will help you to get out of your procrastination. And it will be, so basically, if you are a procrastinator, we basically call you as a person who is a thief of time and progress. Thief of time and progress. Not a good idea. Okay. Now, Varshita is asking Imran, letter to reduce anger. First of all, you need to first understand what is anger. Okay. Many of us have misconception and we use some random emotions saying that Imran, I have anger issues. Imran, I am highly frustrated. Okay, I have this issue. So most of us have misinformation about our own self. Let me ask you this. How many of you think you're procrastinator? That means, Imran, I postpone things for tomorrow. I'm a little lazy. I don't do it. Everybody raise your hand up if you believe in that. Now, let me ask you this. Now go back to your handwriting and answer me, do you write like this? So you believe you're a procrastinator and you don't have this in your handwriting. So everybody, if don't have this in your handwriting, that means you don't have procrastination. That means you have some misinformation about your own self. So you're delusional about the problem in your life. You think it is procrastination. Are you with me on that? No, you don't have it. So you're basically selling this concept to your own self, saying that, okay, one of the reasons why you're not successful is because you're lazy or procrastinator. But that's not the problem. There's a bigger things about it. Make sense now? So one of the reasons why we teach handwriting analysis to people and we want you to learn handwriting analysis, it's not to understand, health problems. It's not to understand or fix anything, but to definitely have clarity about who you really are. What is your personality actually speaking about you? So once you have your self-awareness, see, this is the best of education anybody can have. That is called education of self. Okay. Most of us, our brain is tuned into fixing things. I see all the questions are all about fixing things. Nobody is focused on understanding before fixing things. Because what comes before change is to understand change. And many of us don't want to do that. It's like this. You have a headache. You want to take the tablet, which will solve the headache. How many of you know what we're talking about? But nobody wants to understand the reason why you have this reoccurring headaches. That's the idea, right? That's the idea, right? Yeah. So what to, okay, see, Nidhi is again asking me for what to write to get a field job faster. Nidhi, you need to work around identifying what's your true personality traits are. What's your natural strength, Nidhi? Do you have a list of things which comes to you effortlessly? And your handwriting is validating that. And based on that, we will support you to choose a career for your own self. In fact, I want to tell you this. We work with corporates when it comes to recruitment analysis. So if Manish is applying for a job, or if Amit is applying for a job, or Divya is applying for a job, they don't necessarily give you a job because you are qualified or you have enough experience. They also want to know, do you have the personality to carry forward that job? Because companies are not just recruiting manager, they have so many expectations from the manager. How many of you are aware what I'm talking about? So that's the idea. And many times when you're applying for the post is one, applicants are many. And how do you zero down that? Yes, they do all your evaluation, but finally they want to know the job profile matching the personality profile. How many of you know what I'm talking about? And many of us don't even understand your personality profiling, but you think, okay, mujhe ye job chahiye. Like, you don't need that. Some of you are not really ready or prepared for that. So that's the idea about it. Are you with me on that? Great. How to write signature, approval for success. Okay, talk to Mitesh directly and life coach. Okay, how to stop suicidal thoughts. Okay, Sonam, you need to be talking. Okay, we already got the answer there. Upper part of the F is closed loop. No matter how many times I try to change it, what does it reflect? Been trying to understand myself. Divya, very simple. Your letter F has so many things which it talks about it, and not necessarily that you need to have a loop on the top of the F. As long as you don't have any health challenges, but if it is not getting completed, it has definitely reflecting something about your health. So get your health checkup done. That's the idea there. I use my initials in my signature as I like things to be crisp and compact. Does this cause any impact? Yes, Dharmender. Don't discount yourself off on the paper. How many of you have seen, I always give this example of Amitabh Bachchan. How many of you have seen Kaun Banega Crorepati? And the era where he used to sign the checks. He used to sign complete name of Amitabh Bachchan, so much so that sometimes the check is small, the signature is big. He could have told himself or the entire production team saying that, oh, my signature is big, so let me just write AB. No, he doesn't know that. So never discount yourself off. And this is a big learning for all of you. The amount of space you occupy on the paper talks a lot about you. So if you're writing initials, you're basically, cutting down on your own progress. You're basically telling that itna kafi hai, or this is enough for me, or I'm very happy in this space. And when you have the entire space available, are you all? So it's like you have a 4 BHK home, but you're only staying in one room, and the other rooms are not really utilized, or you're not utilizing the full potential of that space. So it's important how much you show up on the screen there. Okay, so all this is fair. I can go on answering questions, but here are the 5 things which you need to be really aware of so that you can progress your life faster. Are you all with me on that? Give me a biggest if you're with me on that. On the awareness scale, you need to have this clarity about your own self. Number 1, please focus on discovering your thinking pattern. So write down the word thinking pattern. So if Rajendra wants to have success in his decision-making ability, he needs to have a clear picture about what is his process of making a decision. How many of you don't know that about you? And I can bet on this because I know you're all asking me to tell me what is for success, tell me what is to crack a job and things like that. But what is important is what is your thinking process? How much do you really understand how you decide? For example, Jakpreet, his decision-making process could be analytical, or Rajendra could be cumulative. So we basically classify your thinking patterns into many ways. And not only when I say thinking pattern is not just about decision-making ability, it also is about, are you all with me? It's also about how you learn anything. What is your process of learning? Many of us don't even know that. And some of you learn things when there's a PPT given to you, when there's notes, when there's supplements given to you and things like that. So you need to have clarity about your thinking pattern. So I want you to first have education around what is your thinking pattern? What is your learning ability, decision-making process? How do you respond to things happening in your life? Are you with me on that? Are you reacting or are you responding? So more than anything else, rather than looking at impact of your looking at impact of your decision making or fixing your frequency, you need to first bringing your awareness. That's more important. Number 2, many of us are not sure about our fears and defenses. Many people ask me questions which is outside of the domain, like they don't have the proof to validate what they're saying is true. For example, many people think they have depression. Many people think they have anxiety. But there's no clinically proven. There's nothing on paper which tells you. So that's why whenever I meet people who come across and tell me that they have anxiety issues, they have depression, like, do you have any clinical report which justifies your claim? And trust me, many of us don't have it. Many people come and tell me, Imran, I'm very stressful. I need something to help me to bring down my stress. No, there's no clinically proven that you have stress. So can you see that we always have misconception about your own self? Are you all with me on that? So you need to develop more clear understanding of that before you really focus on it. So there are 5 things which I can actually do that. In fact, we're doing this program this weekend where I'm going to be covering all these 5 things. And the third thing is, many of us don't know what is your natural strengths. What comes to you naturally? How many of you want to write books? You want to be a coach, you want to be a speaker, but Do you have the natural fluidity of thoughts? Many of us don't have that. And how do you develop that is something which we can teach you to reprogram. So it's important, rather than randomly fixing things in your life, it's important how you project yourself there. So there are areas of improvement. There's definitely things which we will suggest you, the things which you need to really work on, because many a times we think this is what you need to be working on. So what you think as a change, I want to tell you, one of the biggest challenges I see in people is that in the name of change, they end up changing what was working for them. Let me say this again. In the name of change, sometimes people end up changing what is working for them. How many of you agree with me it's a disaster? It's a disaster. So my focus is, rather than giving you, tips, rather than giving you the go-to factors, I want to tell you first, be sure about what you're changing. For example, I want to tell you something. Remember somebody asked me, Imran, how do I develop persistence? How many of you remember that question? Remember I said persistence can be drawn like this. So let me tell you this. I said persistence can be developed this. Now imagine Harshit, example, okay? Harshit starts developing persistence in his handwriting. Okay? He asked me for a tip. I gave him the tip. But before starting to develop persistence in his handwriting, Harshit did not work on his temper. Now he wanted consistency, he wanted persistency. Now he started practicing this. Now this has a spillover effect on his temper. Now he's persistently temperamental. Hello? Now you understood what I'm explaining. So that's why I'm not a fan of giving you tips, because I need to first understand all the other things which will impact this. There's a possibility that Harshit was irritated. He has an ability of getting irritated very fast. Maybe there was a frustration in his personality. And because he started working on persistence, because persistence is persistence, it will influence everything, good or bad. Maybe he's going to become more persistently frustrated. So can you see that you're doing more harm than good by writing something randomly because you think you need to develop this? How many of you had a bulb on moment right now? Say bulb on moment, because don't ask me for tips, because you don't even know what you're asking for without even realizing how it is going to impact. Yeah, you need to really understand. Like some of you randomly said, okay, can I have a surname? How do I do that? But do you know that your surname represents any resentment you're holding against your family? Your surname actually tells me how you're dealing with scenarios in your life. So much so that for example, if I see this in Sushma's handwriting, her surname, I can actually tell Sushma is sitting for decision making, but the type of questions Sushma is asking is not her question. The type of questions she's asking is that if she goes back home, she has to answer the questions of the spouse or the father, and how they will ask questions. I'm preparing myself in the meeting doing that. How many of you know what I'm talking about? So some of you, you're not even deciding things on your own. It is getting influence from the people there. So randomly asking for tips, randomly doing fixing is not going to help you. So it's important that you need to have a clear picture before you add any elements to it. That's why I always say, fixing is more challenging than creating. Fixing is more challenging than creating. How about creating from a clean slate? How do you design your personality rather than fixing? So you're trying to tell me right now, Imran, sab theek hai, sirf persistent ki zarurat hai. इमरान सब ठीक है, सिर्फ फ्रीक्वेंसी की जरूरत है. बट हाउ डू यू नो सब ठीक है? Okay, and how do you know सब ठीक नहीं है? So it's like you're going to the doctor. So Sangeeta goes to the doctor and Sangeeta says, I have headache, doctor. And the doctor run through all the tests and there's no headache. Reports are normal, but Sangeeta says headache hai. So there are two scenarios there. One, Sangeeta will make the doctor wrong. उसको कुछ नहीं आता. Are you with me? उसे मैंने पैसे खर्च किए. And she will go for a person who is going to, oh yeah, मुझे मालूम है आपको ये problem है. So you're basically not trying to believe what the report. So report is a satya, right? So there's so many scenarios which you need to really understand. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Are you with me on that? Right? So Raj has a question. Sir, I'm a professional cricketer. How do I manifest scoring runs and winning matches for the team? So Raj, I don't know how many of you know Srinath, Anil Kumble. They are the amazing people when it comes to bowling, and they had this beautiful approach. In one of the interviews, they say that when they bowl the ball, even before the ball releases their hand, they visualize the wickets trembling there. And what does it teach you? Remember the first conversation I started my session there? You need to win here. So Raj, you need to first work on your self-esteem. You need to see yourself, you're able to do that, because I can't teach you cricket. I can't tell you the right strokes to play. I can't tell you the batting style. You know the better, you are the master, but I am the mind game. I'm the mind master. So I can help you frequency here or fix there, and you can work on that. And it all starts with your self-esteem and your ability to trust the process. Make sense now? Okay, so I can go on and answer all these elements to you, but the focus is the reason I'm here, and one of the reasons I'm showing up every Wednesday is I want you to develop a personality, not because you think you need it, but what is your really need of it. So we need to really bridge this gap. And for all the people who have signed up for my program or you're part of the platinum, I'm doing this full weekend program on Saturday, Sunday. And here are the things which you're going to be learning in this weekend. Number one, I will train you in such a way that by the time you finish your Sunday program, you will be able to analyze anybody's handwriting. Close to 50 things you can look into anybody's handwriting and signature. That's my promise to you, that in a weekend, I'll train you in such a way that you can analyze anybody's handwriting to begin with your own self. I will teach you 7 things you should not have in your handwriting and in your signature this weekend. How many of you like to know about what are the 7 things which is basically blocking your success that will happen on the weekend? Number 3, I will help you to identify what is your relationship quotient. And that's a beautiful way to explore that. And more interestingly, how many of you like to fix your emotional frequency and your base of your personality? So your expression quotient and your emotional intensity both can be tweaked and made it more better. And we're going to be talking about it. Are you all with me on that? Okay. So for more information about this program, please reach out to Rahul or any of the team members of Mitejji so that you can sign up and you can join there. And I look forward to seeing you there. And in fact, those of you who want to have a formal understanding about how really handwriting really works, there's a very beautiful conversation between me and Mitejji, where Mitejji is asking me questions and I'm answering those questions. And that's a beautiful way of understanding. So that's going to be your first-hand experience of handwriting analysis. So I'm doing that session. We're going to be playing that video tomorrow. So go ahead, sign up for the webinar if you have not done that, so that you can join me for the which I can go on answering. But in the coming Wednesdays, I'm going to be more committed towards bringing you a concept, one thing at a time, and explaining you more. But more importantly, let's have a very traditional and organic approach towards it, rather than just looking some random conversation and fixing it. Are you all with me on that? Okay. So my concluding remarks for all of you would be, number 1, get back to writing. So if you're writing affirmation, if you're reading affirmations, make sure you start writing affirmations. Don't worry about the right way or the wrong way. Start writing. I know many of us have not been writing enough, or you don't have a writing habit as of now. So first build the writing habit, then we'll fix up how to fix your letters we're going to be talking about later on. So just go back to writing first. That's more important. Okay. So let's focus on meeting you all this weekend. Thank you so much for staying back. It's time to say you bye to all of you. Looking forward to seeing you in my webinars and the weekend program. So love you so much. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Oh my God, there's so many more inquiries happening there. Yeah. The link of the program is shared on the chat box. So please click on that link and you can sign up for the thing. Divya is asking, can I book a one-to-one call? No, Divya. First of all, my charges of one-to-one is pretty high. Right now, no, I don't do one-to-ones. I do programs where I can help you to master this skill. So that's the idea there. Due to my knee injury, I'm not able to play currently. Palkan, join me for the weekend program. We can fix this for you. But we hardly write anymore. Yeah, that's exactly, Suresh. Please get back to writing first, and then we're going to talk about it. I've been diagnosed with, but I want to be free from it now. Divya, you're in a right place. So don't look for immediate gratification about it. Just go through the process and it will be more powerful to you. Don't worry about that. You're in the right place. Don't question that. 8 years of experience in IT and recently moved to Canada. I'm struggling to find a job there. Is there any technique to increase that? Nidhi, join me for the weekend program. We can fix it for you because more importantly than anything else, see, I don't know what is your qualification. I don't know what are your abilities, but I can definitely fix your approach towards how you're looking at the job possible. And I hope you're practicing the affirmations, all the other things with Miteji has been talking to about that. Are the strategies for print writing different from cursive? No, Krishna. For me, writing is writing. The styles of writing does not really matter. I answered last question. Yes, Nidhi, I answered it. Can we write name and surname without space in between? No, there should be 1 letter space or 2 letter space, Savita. Okay, Vicky, I use my first name and line between the 2 dots below line. And is this fine? Vicky, dots anywhere in the handwriting is not suggested, even in signature. But if you're already doing that, that's a very small thing to focus on. There's so much more bigger things which you can focus on. So don't worry about that. What's the generic good signature? Any guidelines? Yes, Swati, join my program tomorrow with Miteji. I have listed of things. You can actually understand that. If the name of 5 letters and the last word is a bottom underlined horizontally, and the last word is in the bottom line, not a good sign, Happy, not a good sign. Great. So let's work on it. Let's see you all soon in the workshop there. Take care, everybody. Have a blessed night.